Hello everyone, I'm Lucy. Today I want to introduce my grandma to all of you. My grandma, as a person born before the establishment of the People's Republic of China, she experienced a hard life which was totally different from mine. Therefore, in order to know more about her life in the past, I interviewed my grandma about her experience before she worked as a teacher. In the past, women used to make food binding, and so did my great-grandma. What's worse, my great-grandpa used to suffer from poor health. Therefore, as the eldest child in her family, my grandma was the main labor force. She told me that she began to work when she was only 5 years old. In the past, she used to get up before the sunrise and cook for the whole family. You can't imagine how surprised was I when I heard this, because I still can't cook well now. After cooking, my grandma would help her parents transport the donkey down and hoe the field. When she grew older, her additional work was filling all the tanks with water and selling in the fair. I wondered what can be sold at that time, and my grandma told me that during that period, every family would keep hens and save the eggs. It can be said that selling eggs was an important source of money. Besides, in spring, she used to sell Chinese tuna and buy the dried sweet potatoes as the main food to support her family. When my grandma was little, she had already struggled for living to feed her family without any amusement. Now you can realize how happy my generation is, even from our childhood. However, my grandma wasn't discouraged and fought for a better life. I asked how did she become a teacher instead of a farmer, which was quite unusual at that time. She smiled and told me her experience proudly. At that time, everyone was poor and had to work hard to get food. Therefore, girls used to be forbidden to go to school and couldn't read at all. But my grandma determined to get knowledge. Therefore, when she was 13 years old, my grandma borrowed money from a bank and succeeded in attending school. However, as the main labor force in her family, she had to work for farms at the same time. At that period, my grandma used to spend half a day in school and half a day working. In spring, she even had to take a whole day off to work. Regardless of such a tough environment, my grandma was always the one who got the greatest grades, because she used to stay up and study hard at night only with a small wood desk and an oil light. What's more, in winter, she didn't need to work for farms, and she would stay at home and make up for her lost lessons. Just as the saying goes, no pains, no gains. When my grandma was 17 years old, she became the only one who went to the middle school through the entrance exam. My grandma always reminded me that I should appreciate the good life I enjoy now. In the past, her exams used to be held in the stables, where the conditions were really awful. What's worse, in order to afford the tuition fees, she continued to borrow money from the bank and depended on the stipends from school. Every time she got the money, she would use only 3 yuan as living cost. However, where there is a will, there is a way. Even though my grandma couldn't afford to study further, she was qualified to be a teacher after she finished the middle school. It can be said that the experience of my grandma is really encouraging, and I will follow her steps to fight for my own future. This is all about the oral history. Thank you for listening.